Welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're really digging into the profound world of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. You probably know him as the Missile Man of India, and of course a truly beloved former president. Our guide for this is Kalam's Wisdom, a blueprint for a meaningful life, and we're focusing particularly on the core ideas from his work, Inspiring Thoughts.
Oh,
So our mission today, it's really to pull out those timeless nuggets of wisdom from his philosophy. And these aren't just for students, or young people. They're really for anyone who's looking to live a life with, well, real meaning and purpose.
that's right. And what's so compelling about Kalam, I think, is that unique perspective he had. He sort of bridged these different worlds. Advanced science on one hand, visionary leadership, and deep human values on the other.
It's quite a mix.
It really is. And this isn't just abstract stuff. It's like a treasure trove of practical insights you can actually use. It gives you a kind of shortcut to understanding the principles behind, well, profound personal transformation, even national transformation.
A scientist with a deep spiritual side, that's not something you hear every day.
Exactly. And that combination really informs everything he shared, all the wisdom. What stands out to you right away when you hear about a leader like that, a scientist and a spiritual thinker?
Well, it immediately makes you think about integration, doesn't it? Not seeing things in silos. Okay,
Uh,
so let's unpack this. A core idea he really championed was the power of dreams and action.
Mhm.
Dr. Kalam's take on dreams is, well, pretty iconic. He famously said, dreams aren't what you see in your sleep. He said, dreams are those that do not let you sleep. Powerful stuff.
It really is.
And he stressed that all great accomplishments, whether it's launching space missions or just personal breakthroughs, they all start with a powerful dream, something that really grabs you.
And that's why the action part comes in, crucially. For Kalam, just dreaming. That was only the beginning, the spark.
Right.
He made it crystal clear that these big visions, they demand dedication,
Mm.
persistence, and, importantly, integrity in every little step.
So it's not just having the big idea.
Not at all. Think about his own work, like the Missile Development Program. Those weren't just vague hopes. They were strategic blueprints. He broke down these massive dreams into actual actionable programs. Mission wasn't just a word. It was like a military-grade pursuit of an ideal.
Wow.
Yeah, so defining the what, but also the how, with intense focus. That's why let your dream be your mission. Well, it was more than a slogan. It was his method.
That's a real challenge then, isn't it, for anyone listening? So what does this all mean for the dreams you hold? How do you make them your mission?
Hmm.
And that relentless focus, turning dreams into action, it leads us naturally to another big theme for Kalam, his faith in young people. The ignited mind, he called it.
Oh, absolutely. He saw youth as the ultimate catalyst for realizing national dreams. He even said, the ignited mind of the youth is the most powerful resource on the earth.
That's such a potent image.
It is. And he didn't just admire their potential from afar. He challenged young people directly. He'd ask them, what is my role in building the future?
Putting the responsibility on them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His view was, instead of just complaining about how things are, you've got to become part of the change. So takeaway is pretty clear. Take responsibility, be the change. He genuinely believed their energy, their curiosity, if channeled right, could overcome almost anything.
Right.
It wasn't if they could do it, but when they'd realize their own power.
Here's where it gets really interesting. How can you, no matter your age, embody that spirit? Taking responsibility right where you are.
A great question.
Okay, another area where Dr. Kalam's thinking was, well, quite expansive was education.
Yeah.
For him, education wasn't just about exams, or landing a job. It was way more fundamental. Building character, shaping the mind, instilling compassion. He saw it as a tool for transforming the whole nation.
And that connects directly to how much he respected teachers.
Right.
He saw them as nation builders. Truly.
Not just instruct.
No, far more than that. For Kalam, real empowerment through education wasn't just about soaking up facts. It was about fostering critical thinking, curiosity, moral courage. The things you need to actually apply knowledge to build a better society.
So going beyond the curriculum.
Way beyond. He wanted an education system that nurtured the intellect, sure, but also the heart, the ethical foundation. So you'd get individuals who could not only pass tests, but could also innovate, solve problems, and lead with integrity. That's why he pushed so hard to educate not just the mind, but also the heart.
It makes you reflect, doesn't it? What does true empowerment mean for your own learning and growth if it extends beyond just what's on a test?
Definitely.
Now let's dive into leadership. Kalam had a pretty profound definition here, too.
He did.
For him, it wasn't about power or having a title. It was about, well, courage, taking risks, and also humility, serving others. He had this great insight. A leader must have a vision, passion, and the ability to travel into the unexplored path.
And crucially, the integrity piece. That was huge for him. He believed a leader has to act in line with their values, always,
Yeah.
even when no one is watching.
That's the real test.
It is, and it's practical, too. He kind of challenged the usual leadership models. He showed that real influence. It comes from inspiring trust, from being selfless. Think about the big, risky projects he led, like Pokhran II, the nuclear tests. Immense risks for a national vision, right? But he always maintained this attitude of service, accountability to his team. He really lived that idea. Lead with vision, but serve with humility. Let the mission guide you, not your ego.
So, thinking about that, how might your approach to leading, maybe even in small ways in your family or community, be shaped by those principles? Vision, risk, humble service.
It's a powerful model.
Okay, setbacks, failure. It happened to everyone. And Dr. Kalam, he tackled this theme of defeating failure head on.
He certainly did. He wasn't shy about it.
No, he drew on his own experiences, big setbacks like the early rocket crashes with the SLV-3 program. He talked about that 1979 launch failure, where the rocket just plunged into the sea.
A huge public failure.
Exactly. But his response wasn't despair. It was this unwavering persistence. He had that quote, "Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough."
And his approach, it wasn't just about being resilient, like bouncing back. It was systematic.
Yeah.
After that SLV-3 failure, for example, he didn't just, brush it off. They did this deep forensic level analysis.
Learning from it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Transforming every setback into critical data. For him, a failure was, well, expensive, yes, but an invaluable learning opportunity. It directly fed into the next attempt, the successful one. That's the fuel he talked about, the insight you get from mistakes. He always said the weapons against setbacks are persistence, learning, and patience. Strategic patience.
So the takeaway is crystal clear. Turn your failure into fuel. And that perspective on failure, it connects so seamlessly to the importance he placed on values and character. He had that famous saying, if you salute your duty, you don't need to salute anybody. But if you pollute your duty, you have to salute everybody.
Such a powerful statement on integrity. And he connected that personal ethic directly to the nation. A strong nation, he said, is built on strong character.
So individual ethics build collective strength.
That was his firm belief. Personal ethics are the bedrock, which, raises a really important question for all of us. In this world with constant challenges, pressures, what core values truly guide your actions, especially when things get tough or when nobody's looking?
It's a deep question. Now, something truly fascinating about Kalam was this unique blend. The scientist, who was also deeply spiritual.
Yes, that synergy again.
He believed science and spirituality were like two sides of the same coin, both trying to understand the universe, just maybe from different angles. He found inspiration in so many different religious texts, the Gita, the Quran, the Bible. And he lived simply, didn't he, even as president? Waking early to meditate, read.
He really embodied that balance. And the takeaway from that integration is so relevant today, I think. Balance intellect with inner peace. This harmony he found between faiths, between disciplines like science and spirituality, it was central to how he saw the world. He didn't see conflict there.
Oh.
He saw enrichment. Science gives you the how, maybe, and spirituality gives you the why, the moral compass. It speaks to a kind of wholeness.
And woven through all of this thinking was Dr. Kalam's just unwavering faith in India's future.
Oh, absolutely. A powerful vision.
Yeah, a vision of a nation that was self-reliant, technologically advanced, but also spiritually rooted. He famously declared, India has to be transformed into a developed nation, and this is a mission possible.
And he wasn't just saying that for leaders. He emphasized that every single citizen has a part to play, whether it's through science or teaching or just being honest in your daily work.
Everyone contributes.
Everyone. The takeaway is really compelling. Your small action can contribute to a great national transformation. What's fascinating is how he tied individual growth directly to national progress.
Right. They weren't separate things.
Not for him. A nation's strength reflects the character and the contribution of its people. It wasn't just about grand projects. It was about everyday integrity, everyday effort.
So thinking about that, what does this mean for your role in your community's progress, balancing your own purpose with that broader shared vision?
Food for thought, definitely.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive looking back at inspiring thoughts, it's really more than just a book, isn't it? It feels like a call to action.
It absolutely does.
Kalam didn't just preach, he didn't just complain about problems. He showed through his own life how to solve them. His journey itself from those humble beginnings, the high thinking, the tireless work, always in service, that was his greatest message, perhaps.
Well said. And his final appeal, it's simple, but so powerful. Live life with purpose and let your light shine so bright that it becomes a guide for others.
Mm-hmm.
And that links right back to leaving a legacy. Not necessarily huge monuments, but through our consistent, purposeful, everyday actions.
It really does feel like a blueprint, doesn't it? A blueprint for a meaningful life. Dream big, work
Yeah.
hard, stay humble, and always believe. Believe you were born to make a difference. We've really covered a lot today, unpacked so much breadth and depth from Dr. Kalam's inspiring thoughts. And it's clear this isn't just theory, it's a genuinely practical guide for living a life that has impact.
It really is. And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? Building on his message about individual contribution. If every single one of us were to really embrace just one of Dr. Kalam's principles, if we let our ignited mind truly become that powerful resource he talked about, what kind of world could we actually build together, starting right now, today?
That's a powerful question to end on. We really encourage you think about which of Kalam's ideas resonated most deeply with you today. How might you start applying it, even in a small way, in your own life? And of course, if you want to go deeper, definitely seek out the source material. Inspiring Thoughts is well worth it.